welcome back to Positive Connections Radio, Halt and Call for Backup. We are on Step 5. Jim, Step 5's non-secular. What, you want to go for that one?
Mike, let me take old school Step 5, where we admit to God, ourselves, and to another human being the exact nature of our wrongs. And let's contrast it now with your Step 5 that's secular.
Let's do that. That's a great idea. Let's take the God and all that stuff out of it and make it for anybody. So Step 5, we admitted our struggles, mistakes, and truths out loud to ourselves and to someone we trust. How does that sound?
It sounds great. And folks that are listening or watching us right now, no disrespect to religion. Mike and I, as counselors, we always hear from people that are thirsting for the step work and connecting with their higher power, their God, their Lord. And some people are saying, I'm not there. I would wish there was a 12-step program that didn't include a higher power. And so that's where Mike has developed his 12-step from a secular version. So this is not meant to disrespect anybody, anything. Just want to show you two different styles that might be of help for somebody. So, Mike, where is it different in your secular steps, where the old-fashioned Step 5 says, admit to God, to ourselves, and to another human being the exact nature of our wrongs?
Yeah, admit our struggles, mistakes, and truths out loud to ourselves and to another person that we trust, someone that will listen to us and guide us through there. It's great to have trust in relationships, of course. And, admitting our struggles and mistakes can feel very risky to us because it's not a natural part of what we do. It's hard to stay strong, but that's where the shame of our past starts to lift a little bit once we be vulnerable and get that stuff out. Right. Being vulnerable and having accountability helps break the cycle of shame and isolation.
And don't forget, everybody, that Step 5 is on the heels of Step 4, where you made a fearless and searching moral inventory. That's not just like stopping and making a small list. Like we talked before, your sponsor would keep you in this position, like a running log of things that would come to your mind for a few weeks. Because that's the way it works. You think, I think I've got the list now. I think I know everybody I've wronged. And all of a sudden, that's right, there was Jim. And you add that to the list too. And so what this does is Step 5 builds on Step 4, where you've made the inventory, fearless moral inventory. And now we're inviting in Step 5, we're inviting you to bring those insights out of darkness, out of isolation, and into an open relationship, communicative relationship, because it breaks secrecy and pushes into shame.
Yep.
Yeah. Shame lives in secrecy.
Yeah, shame lives in the dark for sure. You have to bring it to the light.
Yep.
And I think this part of this is Step 5. Step 4 is writing it down, getting it out. You haven't talked about it yet. You're going to share it, and that's where the vulnerability comes up. A lot of us get stuck in 4. It's like, oh, this is too much for me. I'm going back to, I'm done. I don't care if it's secular or non-secular. I'm talking about God or not God. I just don't want to dive deep. It's hard for us to do these things, to be vulnerable, and then open up to someone that we trust about these things. But we own it then. We own our story. This is my story. This is my truth. And when I speak it out loud, it takes it out of the dark. And when I name it, it gives it less power. And then talking to someone who will listen to me and will not give judgment. It's the most healing act in the whole process. It really is. For me, I think it's the most healing act for sure, is getting that stuff out. It's such a weight being lifted off my shoulders.
Yeah. One of the things that you'll get out of working the Step 5 is that it's dismantling the shame that fuels self-destructive patterns and addiction. How many people say that, I started being so ashamed and guilt-ridden and realized how hopeless my life was, that why am I even bothering? Let me just use. I need to feel better by using, or the hell with this. I'm just going to relapse and use and keep using because I'm a hopeless lop of whatever, And when we speak out our wrongs and we have a trusted, compassionate listener that we can talk to, we get it in the light of day, and it is very, very important to go from that step forward so that you don't lean backwards on falling back into your addiction because you feel hopeless. You finally feel hope.
Yeah. And and then you realize that you're not alone, even if
Yeah.
it's felt that way. Many people believe that their struggles make them bad or that you're unfixable. And this step helps you realize that it's universal and human to have these experiences and realize that other people have also gone through what you've gone through too. And for first responders specifically, it might help you recognize that carrying that pain alone isn't strength, it's suffering.
Right.
And we don't need to suffer any longer if we're willing to be vulnerable and open about these things.
Right. Step 5 also promotes accountability. Like you were talking about earlier, Mike, you name your actions out loud and their impact they've had on you and others. It moves us away from just like a vague guilt to specific responsibility. And that's where change can begin, just leaning in and being accountable and not making excuses for it. I was wrong. I did that. I did that, and I did that, and I did that. Nobody else forced me to do it. Go ahead.
I was going to say, let me get a drink of water here. Cut this out, Jim, will you?
Okay. Let me get the cut out. I just edited.
Are those big old metal scissors you got there?
These are scissors.
Let me see those things.
These are scissors for my grandma.
Oh, my Lord.
These go back. These are about 100 years old. Aren't they great?
That's great. That's great. I just got like 5 at Costco for like $6.
Probably sharper than these.
Probably, man. I love that. I love those old things.
Yeah. Well, if that doesn't work, then I've got the steak knife.
Jesus, watch out, man. You got a knife.
The viewer's like, what does Jim have all that on his desk for? Well, you never know who's walking up.
See, this is what we do behind the scenes, folks. So, all right. So we're talking about where we're at, though, accountability.
Accountability.
And you hit a lot of really good points on that one too. And I think I was getting to the point of remembering going through step 5 myself, and at that moment of opening up to a person that I didn't know, 6 months before that, at least, and being trusting, like, this is my story. This is what I need to do. I need to let it out to somebody. So find someone that you trust. It does help when someone is in recovery themselves. And we're not just talking about alcohol and everything else, drugs, whatever. It could be anything that they had suffered from and struggled through and got over that line of fear, and actually themselves went through that too. So it's a lot of it. And trust is key.
Yes.
The person you choose matters. And, you can tell your story to them without them trying to fix you or shame you or judge you. If you have those kind of people in your lives, don't talk to them about it, because that's what you're going to get back. So make sure it's someone that you trust, someone that works a really good program that you want to emulate, and let them hear what you had to say. And there's no fixing. The fixing is what you do by being vulnerable and letting that stuff out. Because once you let that dark part of you out, it brings in the light, and you feel lighter too. So
absolutely. Notice how when we're in self-destructive patterns, we don't want to talk about them. When we're in our addiction, we don't want to talk about them, and the importance of getting this out and start talking. And who do I talk to? Maybe I didn't grow up with trust. Maybe I have a hard time trusting people for really good reasons. Well, this is going to push you in that direction, and doing the opposite of how you feel. I don't feel like talking about this. Talk about it.
Yeah. And let's look at this too. Like, I'm thinking of, okay, so who do I pick? How do I pick it? So we always want to get some tools here. So how do I pick someone? So that I would think to myself, like, what kind of person would I trust with my story, and what qualities do they need? Right? Do they have to be trustworthy too? What I would want some qualities in that person. And then this is a question that I like to give you, Jim, too, though, is what is harder, admitting something to yourself or to somebody else?
You want me to answer that?
Sure, if you can. I know you can.
Well, sometimes I'm going to answer it in 2 different directions. Sometimes it is very difficult for people to actually believe how horrible their actions are, and they downplay it. And so getting to a point where you admit, I am a liar, I am addicted, admitting those pieces. I have harmed people intentionally. and maybe I don't want to talk much about this because sometimes I worry I'm a sociopath because I just don't feel like I have any good spirit within me. I do so many wrong things, And so when you start admitting those things, it's very powerful, very difficult for some people, not everybody. And the other side of that is it can be very difficult unless you have someone or some people that you can trust. Why is it I can tell my dog everything? Because my dog keeps it to herself, right? And gives me nothing but love. Thanks for laying with me and petting me and telling me why you have so many tears in your eyes. I really appreciate you, And they just give you nothing but love. And if we could get that from the people we choose to trust, to hold on to these things. This is why confidentiality, when you have a sponsor or you like to your point, Mike, who do you pick to talk to in life? You can't talk to everybody. You can't talk to every family member. You can't talk to every friend. It's unwise because you've learned through experience that they may not be able to hold on to it. And so you have to pick wisely who your wolf pack is.
I love that. And what you said is so true. I mean, and for me, like what's harder, I think they're both very difficult. And admitting to myself, like I have some issues that I am like going to be honest with myself about. And now I feel really bad about it. And now I'm holding on to the shame and then saying, okay, well, I'm going to confess this to somebody else that I trust. It's huge. It is so huge. A lot of us want to like steer away from it. I want to run from those type of things. And I think the analogy I could use about step 5 is it's like taking off a heavy backpack.
Yeah.
It's like taking off a heavy backpack that I've been wearing my whole life and I've been adding things to. And it's filled with all my secrets and my shame and all my regrets and all my woulda, coulda, shouldas and the things that I really have no control over because they're in the past. And, saying out loud that I had this heavy backpack on and I just want to take it off. I just want to release some of these things. And it could be like debriefing after a critical incident. Just as, our teams, we go out there and we do something and we debrief a situation that we got into and we talk about what happened and we talk about our personal experiences with it and what we did correct and what we could have improved on. And it just takes that pressure valve and it releases some of that built up tension and pressure in our lives because it's built up for so long. And that's why that I've experienced, not personally, but I've experienced in others in the many years that I've been working in recovery itself, of people getting stuck on step 4. They get up all the way up to 4, and then they start realizing like, this is some heavy duty truths that I have to talk about. I don't have to talk about, but I have to make the choice to talk about.
Right.
And I really don't feel comfortable.
Do the opposite of how you feel.
Yes. Do the opposite of how you feel.
One of the amazing things about confessing to a trusted source, it helps us realign our inner world that we've been going through, our thoughts, our regrets, our fears, and it helps us realign them with the outer world, relationships and community. And it helps us foster healthy congruence and self-acceptance, a good, healthy personal psychology and self-acceptance. Sometimes we call it, like in the psych world, catharsis, interpersonal processing. Like you hear me say this, Mike, process the process of the process. And what we're doing is releasing our emotions and our secrets in a safe and supportive context.
Love that. And speaking your truth does not make you broken. I'll try to remember that. Speaking my truth does not make me broken. It makes me brave. In this step, I stop pretending. I stop hiding and I start connecting with myself and with somebody else and letting someone in my heart. And it's not about perfection. It's about being honest. It's about healing. And it's about moving forward in a positive, because that's where I want to be someday. I want to be happy, joyous, and free. I have to start somewhere, and change does not happen in comfort. And when I'm uncomfortable, I have to do what Jim said is the opposite of what I feel. And instead of running out the door, just stay seated, Mike, and just get through this part. It's going to be okay. And you're going to be okay.
Every time I have clients that are just having the breakdowns in session, and it's very emotional for them. It's very, very difficult for them. I always remind them, this is actually one of the best days ever for you, because you're being honest. You're coming clean. you feel safe. You can finally do it. And from here, we grow. From here, we fall forward. From here, we move in a brand new, healthy direction, and we don't ever have to come back here again. This is a good day to talk about these things because you've been wanting to talk about them for a very long time now. And now you have the courage to do it. Good therapy is going to dig things up. We are doing good therapy here. But like we've said before, good therapy is not going to let you just sit here and bleed to death. Now we're going to get a game plan on how to move forward from here in a healthy way.
Yes. You're doing the work. You're getting through it. It just takes time. Hope we can guide you guys into that and maybe pique some curiosity into these secular steps, if that's better for you, and just move on one step at a time. And life does get better for you personally. Things outside still happen the way they happen, but I learn how to deal with things a lot differently now. And I am grateful that I've stayed on this path and I continue to learn and grow. That's what we do. And we help each other. We help our brothers and sisters out there that are struggling instead of talking behind their back. And you know what? Take it one step at a time.
Be kind to yourself. Stay strong. Keep your head up. Speak kind words about yourself and believe every ounce of them. You're not a loser. You're not a jerk. Maybe you've acted in certain ways, but today's a new day. Never be dismayed at the day of new beginnings.
Yes. And always remember to halt and call for backup.
Don't get fooled again.